Welcome to the Pen Leader Podcast, where strategic leaders get straight to the topics, strengthening our awareness and sharpening our minds. The Pen Leader Podcast is produced by Roar, a production division of Mays & Associates Ltd. Find out more at www.maysassociatesltd.com. Now here is your award-winning host, Dr. Shanda Gore.
And welcome back to the Pen Leader Podcast. Today we're going to be talking about bodybuilding for life. And I can't say enough about who I'm about to introduce you to, Miss Ernestine Shepherd. And she is an American bodybuilder who's best known for being at one point the oldest competitive female bodybuilder in the world. And that's declared by the Guinness Book of World Records in both 2010 and 2011. And she is 87 years young. And I could talk about her diet. I could talk about how she got there, but I think it's best that you hear it from her. Welcome to the show, Miss Ernestine Shepherd.
Hello.
So the first question I'm going to ask you, this competitive bodybuilding that you're known for, how did you start in this? What prompted you to say, I'm going to do bodybuilding?
Well, it goes way back. I was 56 years of age, and I had a sister who was 57. And we were invited to a picnic, and we were told we could wear a bathing suit. She and I hadn't had a bathing suit on in years. So we went to put the bathing suits on. She looked at me, and she began laughing. I said, well, don't laugh at me, because you don't look that good. She says, well, what we're going to do, we're going to have to find some place to go and exercise. So we didn't buy the bathing suits, but later on we went to Coppin College, and there was an instructor there that was teaching aerobics. So we started with aerobics. And then after that, he said, ladies, I'm going to let you start lifting weights. I didn't want to do that, but my sister's name was Velvet, and she said, well, I do. So to follow her, I went on and did that. Then after that, she said, you know what I want to do? I said, what? She said, I want to become a bodybuilder. I want to compete. I really want to help people to live a healthy, happy, positive, confident lifestyle by first prayer. And then after prayer, then to teach them to eat correctly, teach them to get out and walk, and then have them really to lift weights. And that way I can really help as many people as I can to live a healthy, happy, positive, confident lifestyle. So we worked out. But unfortunately, she came to me one day and she stated that she hadn't been feeling well. And I said, what has been bothering you? She says, well, Teeny, it has felt like water has been running in my ears. I've had the worst headache. Oh my goodness, my eyes, my throat, I don't know what's wrong. I said, Velvet, what we're going to do is to go to the doc. So she said, all right. But my parents got to her before I could. When they got her to the hospital, she sat there and they were just sitting and waiting and waiting. And when I got there, I said, no one has seen you? She said, no. I said, we're getting out of here. So I got in the back seat of the car with her, and my parents were in the front, and she laid her head on my lap, and she said, if something were to happen to me, do you promise that you would continue what we started? And I told you I wanted to become a bodybuilder and all of the other things that I told you. So to keep her quiet, I said, yes, I'll do everything that you have said. We got to the hospital. She went in. They examined her and they came out and they said, your daughter and your sister had a brain aneurysm and it had already burst. And don't you know, she died right there. I ran around the hospital and I cried and I said, now I don't have anyone. What am I going to do? Well, we had her funeral and I couldn't understand why God allowed her to die. So I went in the house and I stayed in the house. I got up one morning and I was walking down the street and I saw where a church was having a revival. I said, I'm going to go into that revival and I'm going to sit on the very back pew. And if those people in that church get on my nerves, I'm going to get up and walk out. I went in the church and I sat on the very back pew. They were singing, people were testifying, and I said, I could never do that. But then all of a sudden, the organist started playing a song, and I loved to sing. And the song was, Here I Am, Lord. I left there, and I decided that I was going to do what Velvet wanted. I started working out with a guy named Raymond Day. He taught me all kinds of bodybuilding, and he took me to many bodybuilding shows. And I went to this bodybuilding show, and there was this guy, Yanni Schamberger, and I was sitting in the audience, and he came out in the audience, and he said, Miss, I would like to know, would you like to present the trophies to my winners? I said, what? He said, yes, would you like to do that?
No, you were sitting in the audience and he pulled you up.
He pulled me up. And after everything was over, he said to me, are you a bodybuilder? I said, no. He said, but you look like one. I said, I need to work harder to really become a bodybuilder.
Had you hit the gym already by then?
Well, I was training with Raymond Day, and he was the one who had helped me to do the training. And I must have looked nice to Yanni Schamberger because he was the former Mr. Universe.
Yes.
Like I said, he called me out of the audience. And I went up there and I did what I had to do. So then I said to him, I would like to become a bodybuilder. Would you train me? He said, yes. Then he sent me my schedule of what he wanted me to do. And Raymond Day helped me. And then finally, I sent pictures back to him. And he said, now I am ready to train you.
So how much time is it from when he saw you, and because you'd already been working with someone, and then you had this opportunity to work with him, how much time had elapsed?
Oh, God, so much time had elapsed because when I started training with Yanni Schamberger, I was 70 years of age.
70, okay.
Yes. And then when I did my first show, I was 71. Before I went out on the stage, I peeped out in the audience, and my husband was sitting in the corner with his hands folded, very religious man. And I didn't tell him that I was coming out in that kind of outfit. So I said to Yanni, I don't think I can do this. He called me Ernie. He said, Ernie, it's now or never. I went out on that stage and the music got so good to me. I did my poses, then I got carried away. I got on the floor. I did dip. I did all kinds of things that he had taught me. And oh my goodness, the people applauded. They stood up. Don't you know, when they called for the winner, they called me out. I was the winner. The tears gushed in my eyes because I had done what Velvet wanted. I had become bodybuilder. And after that, Yanni got a call from Guinness Book of World Records. And they said that they thought I was the oldest female competitive bodybuilder in the world. And they had to check it out. And if it were so, they wanted me to come to Rome to get my certificate and my medal. Well, it took them only about a couple of weeks, and we were called, and we went to Rome.
Oh.
And when I got to Rome, gosh, I had to do poses. I had to lift things.
What's that weight? What were you lifting?
Oh, my goodness. I guess they had me lifting 25 pounds it was like a basket or something, and then 40 pounds. And I did all of those. I did because I knew how to breathe and how to do all of that. Then they wanted me to do push-ups. I did all of those things.
How many push-ups? How many push-ups did you do?
Oh my goodness, I did about 25 push-ups.
In front of them so they could see.
So that they could see that it was really true. And they were so happy about that. I got my certificate, my awards, and then I came home. When I got home, we got a call from Ripley's Believe It or Not. They wanted me to come to New York. So we went to New York. I got there. And again, I had to pose.
So they could believe it, right?
Right. And they called me Granny Six Pack.
That's your name, Granny Six
Granny
Pack.
Six Packs. And then that was it. All of the wonderful things started happening for me. And I cried each and every day with joy because I was doing everything that Velvet said that she wanted. And I've made up my mind, as long as I live and as long as I can move, I'm going to help as many people as I can to live that happy, healthy, confident, positive lifestyle.
So this really leads to a couple of questions. What you advise others as leaders? You're a leader in this area. You're an inspiration. What do you do when you're faced with a barrier, when you say, I just don't want to do this anymore? What do you tell leaders to get past that barrier?
Well, actually, to be honest with you, I have never said that I don't want to do this. I do this because my joy is helping others and seeing them being happy over what they have accomplished. And then also, some people I've helped who have been sick and who never thought that they'd ever be able to get out and walk. And that is a joy to get them out walking. And then it's a joy to get them to lifting weights. No, I don't make them lift heavy weights. We start off light weights. We start off walking at least 15 or 20 minutes. And then as time goes on and the time that I see that they've grown and that they can do more, then that's when I increase things. I do not push anyone to do anything. And what I do is that I have to say, thank you, dear God.
The age is amazing within itself. This is why Guinness Book and Ripley, believe it or not, has contacted you, and because they think it's unbelievable. But I noticed that in doing some research that the age to become a competitive bodybuilder has actually increased. It used to be younger, but I was reading on one website, thebarbell.com, that 35 is the optimum age now for success, where it used to be in the 20s.
Yes.
Have you noticed also that bodybuilding, that individuals are getting it to later in life?
I have really noticed the age change in bodybuilders, and I think it is simply wonderful. And then plus, they too know that bodybuilding is very, very healthy for you. The way that I have trained my people, I have trained them to eat healthy, to drink plenty of water. And then also, I still put in prayer. Prayer is so important. And then you don't go out envying anyone. What you do is what you can do and show others that you want to help them. And when I did my bodybuilding shows, and then when I helped others to do shows, all of the bodybuilders backstage who were preparing to come on stage were very helpful to each other. They said, oh, would you like to use these earrings? Because you don't have any. Would you like to use this bracelet? Whatever they had, they shared with each other. And it was just a joy to see the joy in all of the people.
So that's a couple of points of your passion gets you to where that no or that barrier doesn't exist because your passion drives you past it. And what I'm also hearing is that there is something about lifting up others, even in a competitive situation, that helps the whole situation move forward. And I think when you're just saying that bodybuilders, they're competitive, but they're saying, I've got something that can help you even be better on stage. That's that's part of community.
Yes.
And
but I would like to tell you this, and I'm not bragging. A young lady came to my class and she started working out and she liked what I was doing, and I showed her so many different things to do. And she said, gee, I would like to compete. I don't want to be the type of bodybuilder that you were. Says, but I want to wear the heels and strut out in the heels. And I worked with her. But then after a while, she went on her way and started working out. And don't you know, just this, I'll say 2 months ago, she strutted out on the stage in her heels. Her name is Vicki Graham, and she competed and she won.
Oh,
She became a pro, and she hugged me and said that she was so happy for what I had done to help her. And if you could see how beautiful she is, it just brought tears in my eyes. To see just what she has done.
So you mentoring her and coaching her helped her be successful. I want to ask you one last question. And I know that it was amazing to see you because I'd met you years ago. Such an impression on the young ladies that I'd brought with me about health, wellness, staying fit. But you were also, people may not realize, but if you watch Beyonce's Black is King, they would have seen a brief cameo of you. I really wanted to ask you, how was that experience for you?
Well, that really was a wonderful, wonderful experience for me. Beyonce is a beautiful person. She greeted me. She just treated me like she had known me for years. And then she had her people to tell me what they wanted me to do. She had clothes back there for me to wear, and they did makeup and everything. And I will never, ever forget that as long as I live. What a joy.
Yes, treated from one queen to another queen. I can't thank you enough for coming on and really sharing your words of wisdom, your story, which I do hope will inspire others. What are you reading or what are you watching? Because others might want to know.
Okay, first of all, I love to read the Bible. Then I read a large number of exercise books. And then, I love watching Westerns. I will watch Westerns. That means so much to me. I don't know. It's just a joy. And then I personally love Sylvester Stallone. And years ago on my phone, I had his song that would play when the phone would ring. But of course, they changed things that I couldn't keep that ring. But anything that Sylvester Stallone did, I was right there trying to do the same things. I even ran up those steps that he ran up. I forgot where it was. But he has been, oh my goodness, my joy through my entire career.
Well, thank you for sharing that. And hopefully, if Sylvester Stallone is listening, he'll know what kind of fan base he has. So with that said, we can't thank our listeners enough. And thank you, Miss Ernestine.
And may I say one thing?
Yes, of course.
I always say this. I got this from Audrey Hepburn. And she said this: for beautiful eyes, always look for the good in others. For beautiful lips, only speak words of kindness. For poise, walk with the knowledge that you are never, ever alone. And I say to you, I love you, I love you, I love you.
And with that said, Thank you. And we love you too, Miss Ernestine. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So thank you to our listeners who are catching the podcast, and we really want to encourage you to share the story and share the podcast, like it, and of course provide feedback if you can at info@MaysAssociatesLtd.com. And until next time.
The Pen Leader podcast is hosted by Dr. Shanda Gore and brought to you by Mays & Associates Ltd, creating customized solutions for growth in the areas of leadership development, strategic planning, and culture building. Find out more at www.MaysAssociatesLtd.com. Don't forget to subscribe to the Pen Leader podcast and share with others.